Great. Well, I would like to welcome everyone to our second webinar in the series in the summer exchange program for the Snow Leopard Network with EarthRanger. And on the call today, we have myself, Tony Lynham. I'm joining from the Philippines, uh, the island of Palawan, and my colleague Elian Adams, who's joining from Bangkok. So welcome to you all. And just like to go through the agenda for today. So we're going to start with a discussion about mobile data collection. So how do we collect data in the field, and how do we use the EarthRanger mobile app for real-time data collection? We can also use this app for offline data collection too. So we'll show you how this works today. And we're going to go on to talking about how we standardize the way we record patrols and events. We're going to get some practical training, and Elian is going to run you through an exercise in using the app and learning how it works to collect observations with a focus on snow leopards. But of course, this could apply to any animal that you're studying. So there's going to be a practical exercise where you actually get to have a chance to go outside during this webinar and use your smartphone to collect some data, and which we will see. And then we're going to do a debrief on that exercise and review how things worked. And we're going to finish off with some questions and answers, and we'll talk a little bit about ranger safety. So that's the agenda for today. And once again, if you have any questions during the session, please don't hesitate to type those questions into the chat, and we'll try to get around to answering those questions in turn. So if we are ready to proceed, I'm going to introduce us. So myself, Elian, and Byra, who you already know. And we're going to talk today about EarthRanger Mobile. And some of you are using different techniques for collecting data. Some of you are using paper forms and maybe digital tablets. Maybe you're using Kobo Toolbox or Smart Mobile. Today, we're going to talk about EarthRanger Mobile and how this works. So EarthRanger Mobile, it's a free app. You can download it from the Google Play Store or the App Store for iPhone. It's designed to assist with wildlife and ecosystem monitoring. And so what we're going to cover today is how to set it up and how to log in. And we're going to run through how to collect data. And we're going to show you some of the features of EarthRanger Mobile that make it really useful for people doing wildlife studies. So how does EarthRanger Mobile help you do your research, your conservation? So it allows you to collect data, allows you to fill in information or data into custom forms, which are designed based upon the particular data model that you have for your site. So it's completely customizable. And when we help you set up EarthRanger from scratch, we will we'll create a data model with you. And basically, we will ask you what kinds of information you want to record, what kind of forms are you using, and we'll take those forms and we'll turn them into digital forms in the app. It allows you to do real-time tracking if you're in a network. So if you're in a mobile network, then you can actually record and upload data, and you can also see your location in real time. So for patrols, if you're doing patrols, community patrols or ranger patrols with staff from a protected area, it allows you to record the route, and it allows you to log events as they happen on the patrol. And you can also use the app for what we call subject tracking. So subject tracking can be tracking marked animals. It can be tracking mobile users, other mobile users, vehicles, or Garmin InReach. And we're going to see how that works in the exercise today. So if you are collecting data, you will be seeing this data appear on your screen, and you have these things called events. Events are observations, and those observations will appear as a list in order of the time when they occurred. And you'll see events of different descriptions, and we're going to talk through what those things can be. So events can be observations that you've recorded on your application on the mobile app. Events can also be things that come in from other sources of data. So, for example, maybe you're connected to a fire sensor through Global Forest Watch. You can get events coming in which are fire or deforestation events. You can also see events which are locations of things that are imported from camera traps. So events are things that we see in a list, and we can go to those events and see where they occurred in your area of interest. You can do real-time tracking. So if you have your device turned on and your mobile on a motorcycle or on a vehicle or on a vessel, you'll be able to see the movements in real time, which makes it a little bit different from other applications. So it means that you can actually do operations. You can run operations where you might be monitoring a survey or monitoring a patrol, and you can actually see where your teams are in real time, which can be very useful. So you can record your data along the way. So, for example, if we're monitoring snares, monitoring threats to snow leopards or other animals, you can be monitoring those things and recording those things as those things are encountered. And you can also see the observations, the events that you're recording alongside other things that are being imported into EarthRanger at the same time. So, like I said, camera trap events or animals that might be moving in the area that have collars on. So you can see where you are in relation to what is happening in your study area. You can see the movements of the animals that you're tracking. So if you have collared snow leopards or collared ibex or igali, those animals will appear. You can also see map layers. So, for example, if you have geofences, if you have boundaries of critical areas, you can see those in the app. So you can see where you are in relation to those layers of information. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over to Elian, who's going to walk us through how we install the app and how we actually get it to work for us. So over to you, Elian.
Hi, everyone. And thanks, Tony, for that great introduction. So I'm going to go into a little bit more detail as to the features of EarthRanger Mobile. And there'll be a chance for everybody to practice in a little bit. I'll try and do a really, really fast overview of most of the features, just really like a bit of a sample. And in the meantime, or at the start, I'll ask everybody to please download the app. So if you could get your phone ready. If you don't have it already, I'll put a QR code up on the screen, and then I'll guide you through logging in. And feel free to play around with the app whilst I'm talking if you want to check out individual features. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to pop them in the chat. And then at the end of this quick intro, then we'll have a chance to go outside. I'd love you to go out wherever you are. Just go outside. We'll take 20 minutes, and then we'll kind of put a challenge. You can record some events using EarthRanger. You can record a patrol. You can really try out some of the features. So I'll go through the features as an overview as quickly as possible. So most of you will have seen the EarthRanger web platform last week. And the login that you use to access EarthRanger Web is the same that you would use to log into EarthRanger Mobile. So you have that same user account, and you can log in on either platform with the same details. The features available are slightly different. EarthRanger Mobile is optimized for working online and offline and in the field, but your account should be the same. When you first log into EarthRanger Mobile, you do need an internet connection. And when you first log in, what EarthRanger Mobile will do is basically take a snapshot of the EarthRanger site that's set up on EarthRanger Web. It will download it to the device, and then you're ready to go out in the field and you have that stored on your phone. If you lose connection, it doesn't matter. That data will be stored on your device. And then when you next get an internet connection, it will be able to upload all that information to the server, and it will appear on EarthRanger Web. So you do need an internet connection when you first log in. So here are those QR codes that I mentioned. So the left one, if you have an Android device, please scan that one. If you have an Apple device, please scan the right QR code. And you should look for an application with this icon. You can also just search EarthRanger on the App Store. You should be able to find it quite easily. It's from the Allen Institute. And then once you've downloaded it, if you see a screen asking you for a site name and a username, these are the details that you need to input. And I'll show you another screenshot of what that looks like in a second. So please do scan the QR code if you haven't yet, or just search EarthRanger in your App Store. So this is what you'll be presented with when you first log in, when you first open the app, rather. So the site name at the top, this is where you, for the purposes of today's demonstration, we'll just use a demo site, ER-Asia. That's what we were using last time as well. And your username will be the first part of your email address. So not your full email address. It's, in this case, for example, Tony's email, tonyl@earthranger.com. His username is just Tony L. So anything before and not including the @ sign. And then your password, everyone's password is the same. Snow Leopard, capitalized, 2026, and then an exclamation mark. So we had a couple of new people joining today. I've created accounts for you already, but if anyone's having problems logging in, please just drop a note in the chat and we can sort you out. But hopefully you'll be able to log in with these details. So if you click Remember Me, it will remember your site name and username, not your password, but those first two fields, so you don't have to fill them in next time. But generally speaking, once you're logged in, you will stay logged in until you log out. So please, if you have any problems downloading or logging into EarthRanger Mobile for today on the ERAsia site, please just pop a message in the chat and we'll help you. I'll keep moving forward because we have a lot to get through and we don't have much time. So this is what it looks like. You can see here there's an animation just showing some demo data being filled in. Remember, we're logging into ER-Asia. This is what you'll see once you log in successfully. You'll see some syncing happening. There's a little status bar telling you what's going on in the app. And the application is downloading the event types, the patrol types, all of the configuration from EarthRanger Web. So it's all stored on your device. And what you have on your device matches what we have on the web. One important thing when you first log in is you'll probably be asked for your location access, permission to view your location. This is EarthRanger asking your operating system, whether that's Android or Apple, if it can have your location. Location is really important in order to accurately record events and accurately record your patrol tracks. EarthRanger never tracks you without your knowledge or without your consent, but it is important that you give precise location access and ideally all the time. If you don't give location all the time, sometimes when you lock your phone and put it in your pocket, the tracking will stop. And then when you pull your phone out again later, there'll be a gap in your tracks. So please use precise and all the time. And as I said, it only tracks your location when tracking is on or patrols are on, or when you create an event at no other time. We currently have EarthRanger Mobile available in several different languages, 13 currently, and we're always adding new ones. We try to support all the different communities we work with. So this is something that we care a lot about. The mobile team works very hard in making EarthRanger Mobile available to as many different groups as possible. If anyone's having problems, please just drop a message in the chat. But hopefully, most people should be able to see the map view by now, or it might still be loading a little bit. Normally, the first sync takes about 1 to 2 minutes, no longer than that. And so from the map view, this is what you should see as soon as you log in. You should be able to see your location, the little blue pin. It's a little bit like Google Maps, if you're familiar with that. You can start patrols. You can start tracking from this screen. There's a little tab at the bottom, a pane that you can pull up. and you can view subjects and shared events on the map. You can view your own events on the map, and you can also create events from the map. In the top right-hand corner here, there's a little layers icon where you can switch between different base maps. So there's 3 available by default. You'll probably see the topological map by default, but you can switch to satellite or street map. So this just demonstrates switching between the different available base maps. You do need an internet connection in order to change. We currently don't support personalized base map, but that should be changed soon. We also, it's also possible to download feature layers, custom feature layers onto your map view via anything that you upload to EarthRanger Web. These are GeoJSON files or shape files, any kind of custom files that you'd like to view on your map. You can also download these to EarthRanger Mobile on the go. So you can see your patrol tracks whilst you're out in the field. You can see maybe your boundaries or protected areas. And those that are having issues logging in, please just try the first part of your email address, not the email. So it will be anything before the @ sign, not your full email address, but it's the email address you registered with just before the @ sign. So my email address is eliana@earthranger.com. My username would be eliana only. And the password is snow leopard, capital S, capital L, 2026 exclamation mark. If you're having problems, not to worry. When we start the practical, I will please stay in the room with me and I will help troubleshoot anyone that's having issues. But just these should be, everybody that registered before today, a user should have been created for you. I'll keep going for now, and we can troubleshoot anyone that needs help later. A useful feature, if you click this button here, it will jump to your current location. So wherever you are on the map, if you've lost yourself, if you've moved away from where you are, if you click this button, it will move the map back to where you are. An easy way to jump to where you are. And EarthRanger enables real-time tracking. And so whether you have internet connection or not, EarthRanger Mobile can track your location. It can record your patrol track or your movement track like this. And if you have an internet connection, that information will be uploaded in real time and be available in real time on EarthRanger Web. If you lose connection for a period of time, those track points will be stored on your device. And then when you next get an internet connection, they'll be uploaded and synced. So you can see the direction you're heading, and it works online, offline. It's also what we call adaptively sampled. So if you're in a vehicle and you're moving very quickly, those track points will be spread out to optimize your track lines. Whereas if you're moving slowly, maybe walking, the track points will be closer together. So it's optimized based on what you're doing and how quickly you're traveling. So to start tracking, and everybody feel free to start tracking now if you'd like, you can see there's this tracking button in the lower pane. If you click this, it will start tracking your location. And you'll see here the pane will change at the bottom to say tracking on. And whilst tracking is on, your location will be available in EarthRanger Web and also to other users who have permission to view your location. So permission is a big part of EarthRanger. People can only see the data that they have permission to view. So if somebody has permission to see your subject, then they'll be able to see you on the map. Your location is only tracked whilst tracking is on or whilst the patrol is on. If you see these buttons like this, patrol, tracking, then your location is not being tracked. So as you move through the real world, a track will be made for you, which is made up of individual track points, and the track points are the individual GPS locations that were taken from your device as you were moving. And as I said, when you have connection, all of those track points are synced in real time and available in real time. And if the connection drops, doesn't matter, it's still stored on your device. And then when you next get an internet connection, even if it's days later, those tracks will upload. Nothing's lost. So here's just a representation of what it looks like on the mobile device. You can see here we have somebody recording their track with EarthRanger Mobile. And then this is what that same track would look like on EarthRanger Web. So it mirrors what you see on mobile and web. And then when you're ready to stop tracking, you can click this end button. It will ask you if you're sure you want to turn off tracking. Once you turn it off, you can't turn it on again. But then you can disable tracking and no further points will be recorded. But your historical tracks will still be available in EarthRanger Web and on the map view. So tracking is quite often used for safety reasons, to know where other patrol teams are in as close to real time as possible, or just to see what route you took. And in the case of patrols, to see your effort, where is time being spent, that can be analyzed using tools like Ecoscope. So track lines are visible whilst you're tracking location. So you'll see this orange line with the blue arrows. So the arrows tell you which direction you're traveling in. And this will stay on the map until you turn tracking off. When tracking is turned off, that initial track line will disappear, but the data will still be saved. The faster you're going, the more spread out the track points are. So say battery. And then if you're walking, if you're moving more slowly, then the track points will be closer together. And you can also adjust that default sensitivity of the track, how far apart between each point you would like to record location. That can be done from the settings tab. And I'll talk about that here. So from settings, if you scroll down to the tracking section, you'll see track sensitivity. By default, it's 25 meters, but you can reduce this down to 10 meters if you want to record a track point every 10 meters, or up to 50, 100 meters, depending on what you're doing and what's important to you in that moment. So this sensitivity is customizable. We also support a few different coordinate units. So you can choose the units that best fit your needs, depending on what you prefer to work in. So your CRS, more CRS systems are available in EarthRanger Web, but we have these 5 available on EarthRanger Mobile currently. And now I'm going to talk about collecting data from the field. So as I said, everything in EarthRanger Mobile should reflect what we have in EarthRanger Web. So last time, Tony was talking about recording events from the field via EarthRanger Web. And if you can also do the same with EarthRanger Mobile. So when you first logged into EarthRanger, it will have synced a copy of the data model, all the different forms and the data collection forms that you have available on your EarthRanger site. That will all be stored on your device. And that's a great question, the difference between patrols and tracking. I'm going to come to that in just a second, so please hold that thought. So a technical definition of events, they're things that happen out in the field. So an event is just something that took place at a specific location and at a specific time. So events always have a location associated with them, or an area, which I'll talk about, and they also have a date and time associated with them. And you can build any event type you like. We have an easy to build drag and drop event editor, as we call it, the event form builder. And that allows you to build custom forms containing the custom fields that you are interested in. Whatever data you need to collect for that specific purpose, you can build that form, or we can help you build that form. So it's available on both web and mobile. There are 3 ways to create an event from EarthRanger Mobile. So the most straightforward ones, on the map view, you may see this blue button here, which is also visible on the events view here. So on the events tab or on the map view, you can click this button and it will show you all of the different event types. So each form, each template, we call an event type, all of the different event types that you have available to you. You can see those in a list. These will create an event at your exact location, the location you are when you press this button. If you want to create an event on the map, but not at your exact location, maybe I've moved away from the point where the event took place, but I want to record an event at that location, you can long press anywhere on the visible map, and it will create an event at that exact location. So if I long press here, it will create an event here rather than at my location. So later on when we do the practical, I really recommend trying these different ways of recording events. Try with the button and also try long pressing on the map. All of the event types, the event templates, are stored in folders called event categories. And event categories are just ways of organizing your event types. So depending on how many event types you have, how you'd like to structure the data, who you'd like to be able to access the different event types. You can put those event types in different event categories. If you have a permission set that doesn't allow you to view any event types, so there's no event types available to you, you may see this warning. You do not have access to any event types. This could also just be that EarthRanger hasn't synced yet. So if you're seeing this on your screen, you can also drop a message in the chat and I can help troubleshoot that when we start the practical in about 15 minutes. But hopefully you're all seeing, it won't look like this, but hopefully you're seeing 3 different event categories on your EarthRanger mobile device. So there's 2 different ways of displaying the event types. You can either have them in individual categories. So security is a category, ecology is a category, monitoring is a category. In our example, we have SLN events as a category. And if you click into that category, you'll see all of the events inside like this. You can also, from settings, there's a setting called merge event categories. If you prefer just to see all your event types in one list without having to click into an individual folder, an individual category, you can turn this on and then you'll see all of the events straight away. It just saves a click, but it really depends how many events types you have available to you. And it's personal preference. Which one do you prefer? Do you prefer to have everything organized and have an extra click to view a specific category's worth of event types? Or do you just want to see all of your event types in one list? You can try turning this on and off just to get a sense of the different ways that you can use the application. All events, as well as having a time and a location, they have a default priority associated with them. And this is just really like a coloring system. The colors can be used to filter. So the red events we call higher priority, orange medium, and green low. But there's no set definition for these. It can be set up the way that you like to work, however you'd like to use them. They can be used to more easily visually distinguish between different event types on the map. So all of the red events, if these are high priority, they're showing red on the map view and they're a little bit more distinct, a little bit more obvious. And these can be customized on an event basis, per event basis. So in the default events that you'll see inside the SLN event category that we have set up on EarthRanger, you'll see they have 3 different event priorities. These can be changed, so it's really what works for you. You can search for a specific event by name. If you want to quickly find an event from the field, there's a little filter search bar at the top. And each event type has, as well as a default event priority, a default color, it also has a geometry. And so most events that you'll work with will be point events. So they happen at a very specific latitude, longitude, point location. But EarthRanger also supports polygon or area-based events. And we'll talk through that in a second, but this allows you to record an area by walking around it, and that area will be associated with the event. So for example, an example of a point event is maybe a snare sighting or carcass that's been found. These happen at one specific location and that can be recorded on the event. But then maybe there's fire damage or a flood zone or crop damage, as we often encounter in this part of the world. You can record the area that is affected by walking around it, and we'll practice that during the practical steps. So when you first start creating an event, once you click into an event, and please feel free to create events whilst I'm talking. Don't worry about creating any data. Please try it out. When you first start creating an event, you'll see at the top, this screen will change. By default, it will probably show 0000, but then within a second or so, once EarthRanger has gotten your location, you'll see that update, and the latitude, longitude, the coordinates will update based on your current position. You can also click into this and then drag around on the map to set a different location other than the one that's chosen by default for you. So this is a point location event, and then an area location event is associated with an area. And so I'll show you how to record that in a second. But this is how it shows a polygon-based area geometry event. This is what it will show on the map. And the area that you create, the area will be automatically calculated, as well as the perimeter, the distance between all the points. So when you're creating an area event, and there are 3 event types that we have set up in the SLN event category. So if you click through, you see 4 different event types. One of them is an area event. There's the crop damage event type. So if you click into that, you'll see that it looks a little bit different to the others. And you have this record event area button at the top. So I can fill out all the details for this event type. And then when I'm ready to start recording the area, I can click this, and then it will guide me through step by step. I can start recording, and then as I walk, I can record the points, all of the different points that make up the shape that I'm trying to measure. So each corner, basically. So if I'm walking a straight line, I can start recording, walk in a straight line. I can add a point as I'm about to turn. Then I turn to the right, keep walking, add another point before I change direction. And I can keep recording these points. And when I'm ready, when I've walked around the perimeter of the damage or perimeter of the area that I'm trying to record, I can close it, and that will create a shape. That will create a polygon, and it will calculate the area inside and also the perimeter. It is possible to multi-select within an event. So the different field types, which I won't go into too much detail on today, but it's possible to have a drop-down where you can select multiple items from that drop-down, or it can be single choice. It depends on how the event is set up, but it's possible to set it up however you like to work. Every event by default always has a notes field and the ability to attach images. So you can take a photo with your camera, you can attach it to that event, and then when you submit it, that will be available from EarthRanger Web. So these fields are always available. They don't need to be added. On every event, if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see notes and images. You can add from your gallery, your camera gallery, or you can take a picture in the moment. And notes are the same. And sometimes users like to use the voice to text feature of their keyboard. So you can press, normally there's like a little microphone sign. You can press that microphone, you can talk into your phone, and it will convert your voice into text. And that can be used in the notes field. And that's searchable later. So a lot of people like to record data more easily, especially from local communities. You can just record by talking into your phone, and it will just save it as a text block, and you can search and find the information later. So this is what the add image function looks like. So this is just taking a photo whilst you're out in the field with your camera. It will be attached to the event. And from the settings tab, you can also choose the quality of the images that are taken, high, medium, low. And you can choose to also save those images to your camera roll. And if you want to save data, you can set it so that only when you get a Wi-Fi connection will it try and upload all of your photos. It depends on your own needs. Another feature is drafts. So typically when you start creating an event, you'll fill in the fields, and then in most cases, probably you'll click this submit button in the top right. And that will immediately try and submit or sync that event with EarthRanger Web. So if I click submit, the event will disappear, and in the background, EarthRanger Mobile will try and sync it with web. If you want to come back to an event later, once you submit it, you can't edit it. So once it's synced with EarthRanger Web, to avoid conflicts, that event is no longer editable. However, if you half complete an event, or maybe there's something you want to check on, you're not ready to submit this yet, you can save it as a draft, and then you'll be able to find it in your events list. It will be marked as a draft, and then you can edit it later. And you can keep editing as many times as you want, editing, saving, keep making changes. And then when you're ready, you can click submit. The time and the location associated with that event will be the time and location you were at when you started creating the event. So if I start an event now, that's what will be recorded in the event. If I click save and come back to it later, even though I've moved 10 kilometers down the road, it's still this location and this time that will be associated with the event. So draft is quite a useful feature that a lot of users like. If you don't want to save as a draft, you can press submit, send it straight to EarthRanger. It will sync, it will be visible on the map. And so from the events tab, which is the central tab from your EarthRanger mobile view, you'll see it here. You can see all of the different events that you've got in your feed. These are all the events that have been created by the user. So you can see this green one synced. This tells us that it's synced with EarthRanger. We can't edit it anymore because this right-hand arrow is missing. You can still view the data. You can see what that event contained, but you can't edit it. However, if it's marked as a draft in blue, and we have this little arrow, or it hasn't synced yet, in this case, it's pending sync, you can click into one of these events and you can carry on editing as if you were editing it for the first time. You can also search to filter for specific events that you've created in the past. And you might see pending sync if you're out in the field and you don't have an internet connection. So all of the events will wait pending sync if you drop connection. And then when you next get connection, then it will try and upload those events for you. And then finally, when it's synced, you'll see this synced icon. And this just shows you can view an event that's been synced, but you can't edit it anymore. You can still edit it from EarthRanger web though, just not from mobile. So once it's synced to the web, this poacher contact event, for example, I can go to EarthRanger web, I can find this in the list, and I can edit it from EarthRanger web as long as I have permission to edit. So that data can still be edited later on if you want to make changes to the data that you submitted from the field, or if you have an operations team or somebody in headquarters, they can make changes for you from EarthRanger web. You can also filter events based on their status, based on their priority. So this is where priority can be helpful sometimes. And you can choose whether or not to show or hide events on the map view. So events by default, your events will show on the map. So you can see the color associated with their priority is also visible. And once they're submitted, then you can see their location on the map. You can click into them and you can view the event to see the details associated. If you find an event on the map view and you want to go back to that location, you can find it on the map, click on it, and then you can press this go to button. You can also do this with subjects, which I'll talk about very briefly in a second. Once I click that, it will show me how far away I am from the event, in this case, very far, and the heading, the direction relative to my current position. So I can then navigate as the crow flies. It doesn't navigate based on features of the environment. So I can't follow a path, for example, but I know which direction to head in to go back to that location. You can also subscribe to the events that have been created by other users in the field. So once you've synced and once you turn on this feature, it's off by default, but you can turn it on from settings, and you can sync all of the events that are being created by other users. By default, you'll only see your own events. You can subscribe to others. So this shared event sync feature is quite popular with a lot of teams. You can see what's going on around you, what other users are submitting. And so this is how you turn that on if you'd like to. You can try it now if you'd like. So when we're out in the field later, you'll be able to see the events being shared by others. So if you click on settings and you go to shared events, turn this on, and then it's important you must click sync. So anything created on your device will automatically upload. Anything that happens outside of EarthRanger Mobile, anything that needs to be downloaded, you need to click sync in order to get the latest version. You can also set the default number of days worth of data to store on your device. So the default is 7. You can increase it up to 99 days. Or a lot of users just like to have only today's events on their device. They can just set to 1 day, and then only the events created today will sync on their device. So we talked about tracking, and now patrols are like tracking with a couple of extra features. So patrols also track your location, but any event that you create whilst out on that patrol will be associated with that patrol and linked back to that patrol. So you can open a patrol later, you can see what happens, you can see all of the events that were recorded, and they'll be linked together. And you can also run an analysis on the patrols and what events were encountered during all of those patrols. Additionally, whilst you're on the patrol, you'll also be able to see the distance that you've traveled and how long you've spent up to that point. So these are the extra features that are on top of tracking. So this is the new patrols view. So you can see patrols here to the left of the events tab. And here, if you're on a patrol at that time, you'll see active. Priyanka, to delete a draft event, you can go to your events list from here. You can just swipe to the right, swipe to your left, move it to the left, and you'll see the delete button appear here. You just swipe across. So this patrols view, you can see all your patrols. You can see if you're on a patrol and it's active, you can only be on one patrol at a time. You'll see that patrol here. You can see what tracks are syncing or what are pending syncs. So if I don't have an internet connection, I might have some sync tracks that are pending. And then I can also see my completed patrols along with when they were synced. So to start a patrol, you have tracking on the right, you have patrol, the big blue button on the left. You can also start a patrol whilst you're tracking. So you can start by tracking, and then you can switch to a patrol mid-journey. Once I hit that patrol button, it has a defined start point for me. It will record the start point where I am when I click that button, and then I can also add in some additional details relating to that patrol. So patrol types, these are completely customizable based on your needs. You can set them up to be any patrol types you like. They're really just like labels. They allow you to segment and analyze different types of patrol at a later time. So if I only want to look at my bicycle patrols later, or if I only want to look at my vehicle patrols, I can analyze those particular patrols in isolation, or I can distinguish between all of the different types of patrols on my map at the same time. So patrol types at the moment are really just a way of organizing your patrols. When I first go to create a patrol, I'll see this start patrol screen here. I can enter a title if I like, just like a label or a name for that patrol. So then later on, when I go to my patrols tab in EarthRanger Web, I can see the name that I input. By default, it will just be the label, the patrol type. So if I start a vehicle patrol, then the patrol title will just be vehicle patrol. But I can edit this if I like. We also have a feature called patrol info. When I turn this on, I can choose an existing event type to associate with patrols. And then every time I click start patrol, that event type will automatically show. And before I can continue the patrol, I have to fill it in. So this patrol info feature is a useful way to kind of collect structured, relevant data that's related to every patrol. So maybe like the weather conditions, the location, the team members included. I can have that kind of structured and consistent data that's collected before each patrol. So patrol info, any event type can be associated as the patrol info event type. You can customize what that event type contains. This is what it looks like whilst my patrol is running. So as we're tracking, I can see my track whilst the patrol is running. I can see how long I've spent, and I can see the distance. And then I can also end patrols just as I would end tracking. I can click end. It will ask me if I'm sure I want to end my patrol. I can say yes. And then it will ask me if I want to continue tracking my location. So this is going back from patrols to tracking. So I can go tracking to patrol, do my patrol, finish my patrol, continue tracking, and then stop tracking. So you can come on and off as you need. So this gives you a bit of a better description as to the difference between tracking and patrols. So tracking is just location and track points. You can create events, but they're not associated with anything. They're kind of freestanding. Patrols record location and track points, but then also they link the patrols that you create whilst you're on that patrol. They also have a start and end time, and they open up new possibilities in terms of data analysis. And finally, we should have touched on subjects last week. So a subject is just something that's being tracked, something that's sharing its location, whether that's an animal with a GPS collar, whether that's a vehicle with a GPS tracking device, whether that's another EarthRanger mobile user. The subject is the representation of that thing. So every time somebody logs into EarthRanger Mobile for the first time, that user will have a subject created for them. And when they start tracking their location, that subject will be updated and will be moving around on the map. So these are some of the subject sources that I just mentioned. We also support Garmin InReach devices, which Tony will talk about in a minute. So each of these can have a subject that represents them on the map. And there's a subjects tab inside EarthRanger Mobile. Any subject you have permission to view, you'll be able to see inside a subject group. And a subject group, just like an event category, is just like a folder that contains individual subjects. You can also search to find a specific individual. And you'll see on the test site that we have set up today that we have some demo subjects set up. We've got some snow leopards that we've got set up based on some historical data sets that we have, some publicly available data sets. You can see those subjects under snow leopards. And we'll also be able to see the other users who are logging in on EarthRanger Mobile. So subject groups are just a way of organizing your data. You can create any subject group you like. One subject can exist in multiple subject groups if you like. And it's just a way of organizing subjects and organizing who can see individual subjects. So if I give a user permission to view a subject group, they'll be able to see all of the subjects that that subject group contains. The list of subjects is always ordered by the date that or the time that a location was last received. So we can see here, Ranger Lee in this example, we last received the location for Ranger Lee 47 seconds ago. So Ranger Lee will appear at the top of the list because he's actively sharing his location. Whereas Ella here, she hasn't shared her location in 23 days. So it's important to pay attention to this last updated, the subject last known position status, because it will tell you a little bit about how fresh that data is. You don't want to go to Ella's location if this is where she was 23 days ago. She's probably not there anymore. You can also turn on and off individual subjects if you'd like. From a subject, I can press this button and I can jump to its location. It will take me straight to where that subject was last seen. So I can see here, Najin was last at this location 6 minutes ago. I can press this button and it will take me to that location. If I have, if I've received a position for that individual within the last 3 days, if I click on that icon from the map, I'll be able to see the subject tracks as well. So I have to have a last known position within 3 days. So this is what it would look like if you had many subjects on the map view. If I click on an individual subject, as in this example, and I have a position from within 3 days, so this one was 4 minutes ago, so I can see the track points. I can see where that subject's been over time. So I have to have that quite recent position. If I click on the icon, then I can see more details about that subject, how far away they are from me, the name, the icon, the last known position. And I can also, just like for events, I can click go to, and it will navigate me to that last position. And this is what the go to overlay looks like. So subjects and events, you can do that subject go to, event go to quickly navigate to the position. By default, the last 90 days worth of subjects that you have permission to view are visible on the map. You can change the look back window if you like. But remember, to get the latest locations, anything you download, you have to sync. So if you want to make sure you have the latest subject locations, always click that sync button. And this is just a summary of how syncing works here in EarthRanger. Maybe I'll skip this one and we can cover it later. Great. So that was a really, really quick whistle-stop tour of EarthRanger Mobile. There wasn't a lot of time to go into detail, but now I would like to try a practical. So to start with, we can try downloading some of the map features, the custom map features that we have loaded onto the EarthRanger demonstration site. So if you first please go to the settings tab and then scroll down till you see this map feature layers setting, turn it on. And then also I like to turn on display feature labels because this just gives me a label on the map view where I can see the name of that feature. So this is from settings. Then you click sync. Once you click sync, you can go back to the map view and you can look for this icon in the top right. And then watch this little GIF. You can come to features. You can click on Greater Gobi. So you go features, Greater Gobi, protected area, and then you click this little download icon, and that should download that feature to your map. And then once it's downloaded, you can click that icon and jump to it, and you'll see that feature on the map view. If you're not seeing anything appear under features, you probably need to sync. So make sure that this is turned on, and then make sure you, under settings, you click sync in the top right. And now we're going to go and we're going to try out each of these key features. We've got 15 minutes, should be enough time. So to begin with, I would like everybody where you are now, please. And if you're having issues, not to worry, we will troubleshoot those problems in a second. We'll get it working for you. But for those who the app is working for right now, go to your map view and please turn on tracking. This will turn on your real-time location. This will start syncing your location in real time. Once you've got tracking on, then you can switch over to a patrol. So you can swipe up and find the patrol button on the left-hand side. Click Start Patrol. So now we're going from tracking to starting patrol. And you can put your name in as the patrol title. And we're going to review all of this data that we're going to collect over the next 15 minutes when we come back. So please help to share some data, submit some data, try these features out. So turn on tracking and then start a patrol. And then I would like everybody to please create at least 3 events, ideally 3 different events. So we have these SLN webinar event types. These ones were built, they're a little bit more relevant to the sessions, this series. So we have snare, we have snow leopard sign, and we have livestock depredation. So please try these different event types out, click into them, fill them out. You can try clicking on the map, long pressing on the map to create an event at a specific location, or you can press the blue button to create an event where you are. So turn on tracking, start a patrol, and then create 3 different webinar events. And there's also one additional kind of bonus event type in there. So these are all point event types, point geometry. There's also a crop damage area-based event type. So you can try that one as a bonus. You can try recording an area by walking around and recording points. So try that one out as well. But I'd love everyone to focus on these 3 event types as the main point. And then finally, once you've recorded those event types, you can go to the subjects tab and you can sync and you can look at the subjects that we have. And please see if you can view the tracks of this individual, SL16748. So you should be able to go to the subjects tab and you should be able to filter for SL16748. But really any of those snow leopards that we have the data set for, any of them that you're seeing a recent location for, jump to that position, click on that icon and see if you can see the tracks. Okay, great. So actually it's 15 minutes. I took too much time. I'm sorry, everyone. Please go away and then come back at 10 minutes past the hour. Go outside, try and record some events, record a tracking, record a patrol, try this out, and then we'll come back and review the data together on EarthRanger Web so you can see how that comes back. Anybody that's having issues, I'll pick up in the chat now and we'll get you fixed. We'll get you logged in. So everybody else, if it's working for you, great. Please go outside and start the activity. And I'll see you back here at 10 past. Thank you. I'm just going to pull up on the screen for anybody that's here. No need to watch this if you're out and recording data. But I just thought I'd show anyone that's having problems. That's what it looks like from the app itself. So we can see here, hopefully this map view looks similar for those that are out using it. So you should see this feature layer here, Great GoBB. This is the custom polygon that we've got imported and we're currently viewing on the map. So if I come to the events tab, I can see all of the events that I've created or in draft form. If I click this blue button here, then I should see the new event dialog. So from here, I can select the category that contains the event type, the template for the event that I want to create. So I'm going to choose this SLN webinar event category. And then I can see I've got 4 different event types here that I can choose from. And if I click on snow leopard sign, for example, I can then fill that in. So these are all the custom fields that I've set up for this demo event. So I can say, okay, we had some snow leopard tracks that we found. And type in a number for the number of sets that we've spotted. Was an individual identified? If I say yes, I can see some additional fields will appear below. But so this is an example of conditional fields. So we can set it up so fields are hidden unless a specific response is given earlier in the form. So if this is set to no, then those fields don't appear. But if an individual was identified, I can show the fields that relate to a specific individual. Was a photo taken? Yes. And choose the habitat type. And then I can attach an image. So in this case, I have some snow leopard tracks that I can attach as a photo. And then I can click submit. And now I can see that snow leopard sign event has gone from pending sync to synced. So hopefully that helps anybody who's having trouble creating events. So that the key is to come to either the map view or the events tab, click that blue button in the bottom right. Looks like a document with a plus sign. Or I can just go to the map view and I can move around and I can just click and hold anywhere on the map and it will create an event at that location. So hopefully that helps. We have 5 minutes left of practice time. So if you're out and you haven't created 3 events yet, please create 3. If you want to try doing an area event, please go ahead. And if anybody's having issues, please just drop us a message in the chat and we'll help you. And just to show you for that last the last practice, if you come to the subjects tab, you can see here I've got access to a few different groups. If I go to the snow leopard subject group, here are all of the snow leopards from the demo data set that we've got added to EarthRanger. So I can come to SL16748. I can click to jump to the location. And then if I once again press on the icon, I can see the tracks that were recorded for this individual. I can see it's a very long way away from me. And the last point was received 2 days ago. So if you want to try out viewing a subject on the map, that's how you do it. And for anyone that's struggling to log in, the site name is just ER-Asia. And I can see that from my settings page as well if I scroll down to the bottom. ER-Asia. So if you're not sure which site you're logged in on, go to settings, scroll all the way to the bottom, and you'll see your site name. And all the way at the top, you'll see your username. And so here I can see I've got 3 different event categories. If I click into an event category, I can see the events inside. And then if I want to merge those categories, as I talked about earlier, I come to settings, I turn on merge event categories. And now when I open up my event list, I'll see all of my event types in one long list. So it's purely personal preference. Which do you prefer? Do you like to see individual events? Yeah, please just try submitting dummy data, any data. And this is that crop damage event that I was talking about. So we have the 3 main ones, and then you'll see a 4th event, crop damage. It's just like a bonus event. And you can see here, this is different to the other 3 because this is an area-based event, polygon geometry event type. So I can click record event area, and then it will allow me to walk around and mark the points of the polygon, mark the corners of the polygon. And I can measure an area for that event rather than just creating a point-based single location event. And those event areas, the polygon that you create, can also be exported later. So if you wanted to bring that out as a GeoJSON or a KML file, you can export the area that you measure, that you mark using the app. But yes, 99% of the event types that are used are for specific points. Most of the event types are points. So that's far more common geometry for event types, but we do support area-based events. Okay, we've hit time. So if you're still outside, please come back. And we'll talk through the data. We'll show the data that everybody created just now. So thank you very much for your time and patience for those that had a bit of trouble logging in. Thank you for being willing to go out and record some data and try out the app. And feel free to keep trying this out after today. If you want to go away after the session and try out the different event types, maybe you want to try an area-based event with the crop damage. Feel free to record more events when you're out and about. Try recording a patrol out to the shops or something. Wherever you're moving around, you can try recording a patrol or tracking a location. So let's have a quick look. Hopefully everyone's back now, and we can run through some of the data that was submitted. We'll just do a very quick overview. We have about 10 minutes, and then we'll do some close off, and there'll be a chance to ask questions at the end of the session. But just for about 10 minutes, we can go through and see some of the events that have been created. So you can see they're updating in real time. So this most recent event, this red livestock depredation event, 10 seconds ago, it was created. If I click into it, I can see the person that submitted it. I can see the answers that they selected. I can see that it was part of this patrol number 311, which is a foot patrol. If there was an image attached, I'd be able to see it. You can see here we have time. This was created by AJ. You can see some nice data that's collected here. I can see there's a picture of a beautiful snow leopard. Ferocious. And I can see it's linked with AJ's patrol. And so all of these data that are being submitted are appearing inside this event feed in EarthRanger Web. And this will be alongside the other data, as Tony said, the other data that you set up to be collected by EarthRanger, whether that's sensor data, whether that's data from other services like Global Forest Watch or firms. All that data is coming in time series inside your event feed, so you can view it all alongside your other data. It also I can very quickly zoom in and filter to just show the information that I'm interested in. So maybe I really want to know about all of the snow leopard signs that have been submitted. If I come to filters and I just choose snow leopard sign, now I can see all of the snow leopard sign events that have been created within the time period that I'm looking at. So by default, the time period is always the last month. So from today until 1 month ago. But I can change this. I can quickly, so I've already set the snow leopard sign filter. Now I'm going to set the date filter, just show me events from today. So now I'm just looking at the snow leopard signs that were created from midnight today to my time. So I can jump to an individual event. I can see where it was created. So I can see here where it's showing on the map. I can click into any of these events and I can see that it was submitted as part of that event. And now, for example, if I open up an event and I can see links here, because it was created as part of a patrol, it's showing that patrol as a link. And if I click on that, now I can see the patrol and I can see all of the other events that were submitted as part of that patrol. See the start date time, the start location, the end location. So this is what patrolling gives you. It gives you a link between the events that take place and the route, the path that was taken as part of that patrol. And later on, we'll have a chance to show you Ecoscope, which is one of the analysis tools that you can use when analyzing your data from EarthRanger. But I can analyze all my patrols, all my foot patrols, and I can see what proportion of events were recorded, how many snare events, how many snow leopard sign events were created, where were they showing on the map. I can see all that data and analyze it later. So that's what patrol the patrol feature gives you on top of just tracking. And then if I want to see all my events again, I can just click this reset button. And now it will show me all of my events. You can see here we have a crop damage event, which is great. And it's recorded a crop damage area with 100 meters squared. It's linked with the patrol as well. And I can see that area marked out on the map. So this is the polygon that represents this crop damage event. The perimeter is 43 meters. The area is 100. So this is automatically calculated as part of the event. And again, these fields can be customized. Whatever information is important to you, whatever types of data you want to collect, it can be customized to collect that data. And actually, a very new feature, I mentioned that every event automatically has the ability to record a photo, record an image, and record notes. So you can always attach an image to an event. But now we have the ability to have an image field. So if you want to collect multiple images as part of an event, maybe if it's a snow leopard sighting or a livestock depredation event, you can have a field to collect an image of the enclosure or the site of the event. Maybe you want to collect any evidence. You can have another field that is specifically to collect a photo of specific types of evidence. So you can have multiple image fields in one event. So you can collect structured images alongside the other data that you're collecting as part of that event type. Another thing that we can do now that we have quite a few events in here is we can app. Let's adjust this a little bit. It's a little bit big. And now over time, as events are collected, we can see where those events are concentrated on the map. So it's quite a nice way of more quickly and visually seeing where specific events are happening. And if I filter for a specific event type, so maybe I just filter for my snow leopard signs, and then I turn on the heat map, it just shows me the heat map for the events I'm filtering for. So if I'm just looking at snow leopard signs from the past 7 days, I can see on my map view, on my area of interest, where those events are taking place. I can also quickly filter for specific events. Like maybe if I have a named individual and I want to find that individual, I can type in the name here, and this search bar will filter for all of the text data and all of the fields to find events that match my search query. So if I just want to look, for example, at maybe all the cattle events, if I type in cattle here, these are all of the events that feature the term cattle as an option that's selected. But say I had cattle as option across multiple event types, I can first filter for livestock depredation and then search cattle. And then it will show me all of the events that have cattle as an option when that's been selected. And I can also filter later to find all my corrals, all of my events, all my situations that took place and are associated with livestock being a corral. So we can type in a search term here, a filter term, and it will filter this list based on matches to my search term. So you can see how really quickly I can zoom in and just look at the information, the data that's interesting to me for whatever purpose I'm trying to achieve in that moment. Great. So as I said, please feel free to keep submitting data if you like. Try out patrols, try out submitting events, try out tracking your location if you like. You can come back to EarthRanger Web, you can log in with your same username, and you can see yourself appearing on the map. You can see that data coming in real time. Feel free to try this out after today. Don't be afraid to submit more data and try it out, try out new features. Great. Thank you very much for your time, everyone. And I'll just pass back over to Tony for Q&A.
Yeah, thanks, Elian. That was really amazing. I hope that all of you have had an opportunity to explore the functionality of EarthRanger Mobile. And what I wanted to do is share my screen and show you a couple of additional things that we can do once you have done patrols. So one of the things that EarthRanger allows you to do is to track your teams in the field, and that can be useful for a number of reasons. One of them is to ensure the health and safety of the field teams, and for the manager to know where they're moving, and to know if they're where they are on their patrol or on their wildlife survey. So if we go to the EarthRanger platform and select patrols, we have a list of the patrols here, and we have a status for the patrols. So if a patrol is in progress, it will say in progress. All of these patrols are patrols that have been completed. And yeah, they've all been completed. So maybe somebody is on their patrols in progress and you want to know where they are. Maybe they haven't turned up to the point where they're supposed to be picked up. So you can find out where they are by selecting the track log and selecting the location button, and it will zoom into where they are on the map. So you can see the last point where their track log was recorded. So now I'm zooming into Tapu Sai, and he has done a patrol, and we see that he's completed his patrol and he's recorded some observations. And now maybe I'm interested in seeing where Priyanka is. So I'm going to select Priyanka's track, and I'm going to zoom into Priyanka. And I see now where Priyanka is, and Priyanka has done this really pretty cool patrol. And Priyanka has started her patrol and moved all the way to the end, and along the way has recorded some signs, some stairs, and some interesting stuff. And Priyanka has finished their patrol. So we can use the EarthRanger mobile app to figure out where the teams are. If they have a network, if they're in the network, in the mobile network. Now, what happens if they're offline? What happens if the teams are out of the network, they're off in the field and there's no network? Well, you can still collect the data. You can still record your track log. You can still record events. It's just that those events will not appear, and they will not appear in the platform until the ranger or the person collecting the data comes back into the network, and then the data will upload. So offline data collection is totally possible. It just means that you don't know where your team is. However, there is a way to see where the teams are moving if they have a device called the Garmin InReach. Some of you may know what a Garmin InReach is. It's a satellite communication device. And using Garmin InReach, we can actually track a team in EarthRanger anywhere where they're operating. So completely offline, maybe in a forest somewhere on the top of a mountain, and they're away from the network, but we can still see them. And this can be useful because we can monitor the health and safety of our teams if they go to a place where there's a risk of injury. Maybe there's a place where it's a little dangerous to be walking around. We can still track those people using InReach. I'm going to show you an example from a patrol that I did today, just this morning. So I'm in the Philippines, and today I did a patrol, and my patrol was done with a device called the Garmin InReach. So I'm actually going to go to my patrol, and I'm going to show you where my patrol was done. So this is a patrol that was done at sea. So I actually started here at this place called Puerto Princesa. And we did this patrol, and I was using a Garmin InReach to track my location. So all along the way, I've recorded the track log using the Garmin InReach, and I can actually see what I did. And if I was actually, this patrol has been completed now, But if I was still at sea, whoever is managing the dashboard would know where I am. And you can see that we went out here and we saw some whale sharks this morning, very exciting. And then we went over here and we saw some more whale sharks over here, very exciting. And then we came over back here. So Garmin InReach allows us to track the location of um, a device or a team member when they're off on their patrol. So here is my device, and let me just show you here. There it is. I can even create a heat map so I know the concentration of my activity, and I can get all the information on where I am at this present point in time. So I'm actually sitting here in this room here, in this town here, and I'm actually back from my patrol, so I'm totally safe. But if I was off at sea, or if I was on the top of a mountain, or if I was somewhere else, you would know where I am because I've got my InReach switched on, and you can actually see my location from the InReach device. So Garmin InReach is a really useful tool for ensuring the safety of your teams. We have people using InReach in Zimbabwe, in Australia, people who are working in remote places. They're using InReach in conjunction with EarthRanger to track their locations when they're off in the field. So it's a really useful health and safety feature that you might consider putting into your EarthRanger platform. Okay, so just to sum up, today we've talked about the EarthRanger mobile app, and Elian's taken you through a practical example of how it works with options to collect data. Hopefully you've seen the beauty of this app. It's an amazing app. It allows you to configure any kinds of events. So we just created these events as examples, as demonstrations, but you can create events that match your data model, match the information that you want to collect. When we set up EarthRanger for you, we get your data model, we get your forms, and we create a digital version of those forms. And the event types that are used are the ones that are configured for your particular use. So you've seen how to record data, how to record your track, how to record a patrol. These are all the things that you can do with the EarthRanger mobile app. And hopefully you've seen that this is actually a really amazing piece of technology. It's very easy to use, and we'd love you to use it. And so if any of you are interested in having EarthRanger for your project, your conservation site, please email us, and we're happy to help set this up for you and configure it for your use. And once again, EarthRanger is entirely free. Access to the web platform, access to the mobile app, completely free, and we provide technical support also for free. And so I'm going to hand back to Byra, who can close the session for today.
Wow, this was such a wonderful session. Thank you, Elian and Tony. It's really amazing, lots of information, and then with interactive sessions. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. And yeah, if there's any questions, as Tony says, please also let us know. We have a chat group now, so anytime people can post their questions and requests. Okay, thank you everyone, and see you next week.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye for now.